Hello fabulosas, welcome to today's future spouse pick a card reading, and in today's pick a card reading I want to find out some fun facts about your future spouse. So these facts may be very random. I'm going to majoritively channel the messages here today, and I have previously meditated on each pile and made a couple of notes of a few channeling messages that have already came through, so I will be looking at those notes in this reading as well. But guys, if you want to find out some fun facts about your future spouse, I need you to pick one of these three piles. Pile number one, we have the Lovers. Pile number two, the Hierophant. And pile number three is the Moon. I highly recommend that you go with your first gut instinct. Spirit is going to guide you towards the pile which has the most relevant information for you. And once you have chosen your pile, I shall see you in your reading. Hello beautiful fabulous pile number one, how do you do? I hope you're all keeping well. Let's find out some fun facts about your future spouse. So you chose the wonderful, the beautiful and glorious Lovers card, but in previous times the Lovers card was called the Choices card, which makes me think that your future spouse has had to make difficult choices in the past. I do also think you could resonate to this as well. Potentially you or your future spouse has heavy Libra in your chart, and we all know that Libras do struggle to make decisions at times because they're always weighing up all of the options. Now there is so much pink energy here. We have pink depicted in every single card that we have pulled, along with the fact that I have previously decided to colour the heart on your notes in pink as well. Now I don't know whether pink is your favourite colour. Whilst I was channeling, I was getting the colour pink, but I didn't write it down because I thought I can't tell you that your future spouse's favourite colour is pink if you are looking for a masculine, because you might think that this person is a little bit soft, but that's not the case. I do think your future spouse may be drawn to more pastel colours, and again you may resonate with this as well. Now the colour pink can represent childhood and nostalgia, and I do think that your future spouse has a big connection when it comes to their childhood. This may be somebody who always looks into their past in a nostalgic way. You may come into their life and have to kind of nudge them into the future. Now this doesn't mean that your future spouse doesn't want to make new memories. It doesn't mean that your future spouse doesn't achieve and things like that. It just means that you may have to kind of pull them out of the past. But this may resonate to you guys as well. There's always a reason when we are stuck to our past. Okay, so there's something going on with your future spouse, and you may relate to this also, where you're doing a lot of childhood healing at the moment. Pink as well can talk about someone who is very lustful, someone who's very romantic, and someone who's very hopeful when it comes to love. So I feel like your future spouse and you are both looking for love at the moment, both very hopeful for love. Now if I got the colour red or a very, very deep pink, I would probably say you may make the wrong choices when it comes to love if you're in that kind of energy, because you're kind of I don't even want to use the word that I was going to use to describe this. But it's kind of like I have to have love at all costs when you're looking at the deeper pinks and the reds. But this is a very light pink, which tells me that you and your future spouse are very hopeful when it comes to love at the moment. It's like, I'd like it, it would be really nice, but it's not the be all and end all, and it's not going to make me. And that's a very healthy way to look at love. Now I do feel from this Lovers card, the fact that we have got two people kissing here with their phones and there's two little likes. This does tell me in this particular deck that you will meet your future spouse online, or even if you haven't met them online, you may meet in person but not really communicate in person. This could be an instance of you and your future spouse meeting at a club or a bar or some kind of event because you have mutual friends in each group who know each other. You guys clock eyes, you guys see each other, you guys get that instant attraction, but maybe you don't communicate because you don't get the chance in that moment, and then you find each other online, like a few pics of each other, and find out that you both are really into one another. So I also want to say there's something around, I don't know whether you or your future spouse have had a previous experience with religion. Maybe a belief was pushed upon you, or it could be your future spouse if this doesn't resonate for you. And I think at some point it kind of made you steer into more of an atheist view, or this could be your future spouse. Now I don't really know where you or your future spouse is at when it comes to your beliefs at the moment, but I can definitely see that there was a disconnection from some kind of belief in the past, either for you or your future spouse. Now I do think, again, this is another joint message, you and your future spouse have the tendency to overwork yourselves, burn the candles at both ends. There could be a lot of competitiveness when it comes to your careers, or this could be in your personal life. It could be that you or your future spouse have friends who tend to compete with you. I think we've all been there at some point, haven't we? Where we have a friend who loves you, thinks you're absolutely amazing, but at the same time there's like a jealousy there, so there's a level of competitiveness within a friendship. I could be talking to somebody in particular here. This could be you now, or this could be your future spouse in the future, and you may realise this. But I think there could be a friend at the moment who is highly, highly jealous of either you or your future spouse. If it's your future spouse, they could be dealing with it now, or it could be something you notice about them in the future. I think this friend puts a lot of pressure on you. This friend could ask more of you than what's expected of you. This friend could make you feel a little bit ugh after you leave them. And I do think whoever this is, there's a lot of love for this person, but you may notice when you leave them, you feel a little less confident, a little deflated, a little overwhelmed. And again, if this doesn't resonate with you, this could be your future spouse. Now, I do sense Aries energy here, Sagittarius energy, Leo energy. Gosh, that's all of the fire signs. So this could be you or your future spouse. You could both share a lot of fire energy between you both. I do sense some air here as well, because I do feel an energy of somebody having the ability to kind of float off into their like imagination or their dream world or their happy place. I don't think this is unhealthy at all. I think it's a very strong form of manifestation here. For your future spouse, I really did feel a lot of energy around horses. I don't know whether they ride, whether they play polo, whether they grew up on a farm, or whether they grew up around fields and around horses and they used to really enjoy feeding the horses or petting the horses. Maybe they'll talk about how they always used to get horsefly bites when they were younger. Maybe they're allergic to horsefly bites. You may meet them at a time where they have a horsefly bite and you see like a little swelling on them somewhere and you're like, are you okay? And they're like, yeah, I'm just allergic to horsefly bites. I don't know whether they've got family members who actually have horses, or whether there's an ancestral history of taking care of horses and having horses. They could have a friend who owns stables. You may also have a connection to horses. You or this person could be a year of the horse as well. So that's the Chinese year of the horse. Now your future spouse is also very much into toys and technology. They've got a strong connection to their inner child. I did mention this, didn't I, at the beginning? With the pink energy, there's a connection to their childhood. This is somebody who doesn't stay still for too long. They're always on to the next thing, and they probably have a hell of a lot of cardinal energy in their chart. So look out for that Aries energy, as we've mentioned. Look out for Capricorn, Libra, and Capricorn. Sorry, look out for Aries, Cancer, Libra and Capricorn. I said them in the wrong order and that's why I got confused there. So look out for those signs with this person. Now this person has a connection with piercings and tattoos. I don't know whether they have piercings and tattoos, whether they want piercings or tattoos and they have expressed this to you. Maybe they're a little bit scared of needles. This could be a big reason why they haven't gone to get these piercings and tattoos that they want if you meet them with no piercings and tattoos. I do think if you meet them with no piercings and tattoos, I do think they're going to get piercings and tattoos. Or they just find people with piercings and tattoos extremely attractive. You may have piercings and tattoos, or you may want piercings and tattoos. I think it's like a little bit of a kink for them. I think this could come from their childhood as well, because I think maybe they were taught to not have piercings and tattoos. I do sense a very strict upbringing when it comes to your future spouse. So it could be the fact that they always want to rebel against what they were taught in their childhood when it comes to like the strict things in their childhood. Now I do sense a loss with this person. So this could be a loss of a loved one. They may have had a previous relationship where they loved and lost, but this makes them hold on tight to whoever or whatever they love. So if they're in love with you, that's it, baby. That is it. They are devoted to you. They do not want to lose you. I do want to say there's an element of clinginess when it comes to your future spouse. So they may always be like, hey, where are you? Are you safe? And things like this. I don't see it being overly toxic. I just see them being very caring and a little bit clingy with that caringness as well. I do sense a very strong relationship with the father or grandfather. So I don't know whether they lost a father or whether they've lost a grandfather that they were very close to, or whether they're just extremely close to the masculines within their family. I do think they come from a family where the men are king, men are boss. So I think they were brought up to have a lot of respect when it comes to the masculines in their family. Now, I do think there's a connection to teaching here. So I don't know whether your future spouse teaches, or whether they're doing some kind of teaching course, or whether they're actually involved in some sort of educational pursuit when you meet them, because I can see it either side. It could be you guys, you guys could actually meet at a course, and this could literally be like a 2-day course or something like that. You guys lock eyes and then you get in touch on social media after and you get chatting. I also want to say this could be an online course as well, if you are resonating with the fact that you may be looking to enroll on a course or some kind of educational study. So you could see each other in the online course, connect on the online course and get together that way. Or you may realise when you meet this person that they are in education or they are taking some kind of course. I do think your future spouse will teach at some point in their life. Now I do sense that your future spouse is very top heavy. Now if you're a masculine, we've got like the broad shoulders, the big chest, and maybe like smaller legs. I even want to say for some people, maybe a tiny bit disproportionate, but not in a noticeable and kind of like laughable way. Like, I was just trying to think of some kind of cartoon character with like Popeye. Popeye's got this like massive top half and these teeny weeny little legs. I don't mean it in that way. I just think potentially, and I resonate with this, all right? So this is where it's coming from. It's coming from the depths of my psyche, where your bottom half of the body may not build muscle like your top half of the body. And it's like, well, why do I have 2 different body types in one body? And it is quite normal. Holler down below if you're one of those people. I'm definitely one of those people. My bottom half builds muscle like crazy. My top half is like a skinny person's top half. Like, I can't build muscle. I can barely lift with my top half. I've never been able to pull my own body up when it comes to like pull-ups and stuff like that. It's crazy. And it always reminds me of those little flick books. You know when you have those books when you're a child, maybe they've got like 3 tiers, and you might have like a horse's head, a fireman's body, and a chicken's legs. That's literally how I see myself, and I kind of want to throw that out there for this person as well. It doesn't have to be as extreme as a horse's head and a chicken's legs. I feel really bad for saying that, but yeah, you may notice that they're very big on the top half and they're a little bit small on the bottom half. Now if this is a female, they have got some pretty, I want to say they've got some hefty bazonkas. That's the word I'm going to use today. Some hefty old bazonkas there. And again, like a little bit disproportionate to their body. Hefty bazonkas and maybe a very petite body. Okay. Hummus came up whilst I was channeling hummus. So it makes me feel like this person either really likes hummus or really dislikes hummus. This could come from their childhood as well. Maybe they were force-fed hummus and they're like, do you know what? Hummus was on the table for every single meal and I don't even like it, and I had to eat it as a child. Or it could be the opposite, they have hummus with everything. I remember there was a time where I literally only lived on hummus and cigarettes. Now I don't smoke now. I stopped smoking when I was pregnant with my son because all of a sudden I felt sick. I didn't know I was pregnant with him for about a month and a half, so admittedly I was still smoking. But I did not know I was pregnant, but I just started feeling really sick whenever I had a cigarette in my mouth, and I was really upset because I really enjoyed smoking, you know. I really enjoyed it. And then I thought, it's okay, I'll start smoking after my pregnancy, after I found out I was pregnant, and I still couldn't stomach it. It made me feel absolutely sick every single time I put a cigarette to my mouth. So it's a good thing. It's a good thing, but I did like it. I did like a cigarette. Where was I going with this now after I went into cigarette? Oh yeah, I used to live on hummus and cigarettes back in the day. Hummus, cigarettes, barely any sleep. Go out at night, come home 3 AM, sleep in your makeup, go to work at 9 AM. Oh, good times. I can't do that anymore. But yeah, this person may live on hummus and cigarettes. No, I'm only joking. This person may be from a Mediterranean family. They could have Mediterranean ancestry. Does make me think that this person has like darker hair, darker eyes. Oh God, the darker eyes. For some reason, when I mentioned their darker eyes, I melted. Now, it does tell me that they are probably going to have extremely nice eyes, like the kind of eyes that you just get lost in. I can see like a little bit of an innocence in their eyes because they're very connected to their inner child. So you're probably going to see like that child when you look into their eyes, the innocence, but it's like a beauty that they have that radiates from their eyes. Now, what's really sweet about this is your future spouse is a lovely mix of the masculine and the feminine. And I want to say, if they're a feminine, they will reside more in their feminine energy when you two connect. And if they're a masculine, they're going to start residing more in their masculine energy when you two connect. But again, if this is a masculine that you're dealing with, they're very sensitive. They're very loving, they're very sensitive. They'll probably try to not control you. Your future spouse is incredibly neat and tidy. They're a minimalist. And I actually think they come from a home where there was a lot of colour, a lot of vibrancy. And I think your future spouse has gone in the opposite direction, and they're very minimalistic, very kind of OCD tidiness kind of tendencies. They need everything in place. They need everything to be organised. And again, this is a form of control that they have, because they felt so out of control when they were younger, because they were being influenced so strongly. In their subconscious, they have to control their environment. They need everything to be in order. They need everything to be neat and tidy. And that is that very masculine, powerful nature trying to come out of them, okay, screaming at them. Hope that makes sense to you. Now, I feel like your future spouse has a medium skin tone. So again, that would make sense if they are from Mediterranean origins. They could be somebody who tans very well. And I even want to say, if your future spouse has a darker skin tone, they've got like a luminosity to their skin that kind of lightens it a little bit. Now, I'm hearing the letter H extremely prominently. This could be the first letter of their first name, it could be the first letter of their middle name or their surname, but the letter H is coming up. Now, I did get a song come up called Hear Me Now by Alok. It's not a song that I am familiar with. You might want to check out that song yourself. I did check it out once I got the channeling of it, and there was a very prominent father figure in that song, so it did match the channelings that I previously made. I do think potentially in that video they were in a hotter climate. It could have been a Mediterranean climate, I'm not too sure. But this song, whilst I was listening to it, what I was channeling was the fact that your future spouse is extremely wise. They're extremely supportive through hard times because they've had to support through hard times previously. So they may have had to support a mother or a sister. They even may have had to support, a relative that unfortunately was very ill and was on their way out. So they're very good in those hard times. If you're having a rough time, they're extremely supportive. They are not going to abandon you when you need them the most. They're extremely emotionally expressive. And they influence you to be more emotionally expressive, which tells me that you potentially may not be as comfortable expressing your emotions. I do want to say as well, this person, if they are a masculine, they could be very strong in their feminine energy, and they're a lot more emotionally expressive than, the next man or the man after that. And they're also ready for parenthood. I do want to say that they are going to want children with you. They are going to want a family with you. They're in that very nurturing energy naturally. So you may find that they do want kids and they are ready for parenthood. Now, I do think they're into dance music and anything with a lively beat. They do like dance music with lyrics though. I don't think they're the type of person to listen to dance music with just a beat and without the lyrics, because they're very deep. They need to listen to music that has meaning, but they do like that lively, upbeat energy. Again, it's giving me those like Mediterranean vibes. Bear in mind, it doesn't have to be Mediterranean, all right? It doesn't have to be, but it could be anything of like one of those cultures where everything's kind of like clappy, like drums, they like an upbeat energy. They were raised with song and dance. They've got song in their heart. They've got dance in their heart. They may be somebody who is naturally a very nice singer. They may just have a very nice voice. Now, I do want to say, as a hobby, they are interested in things like engineering, mechanics, creating things, building cars, architecture. Okay, there's something around them being extremely practical, very good with their hands, very technical minded. This could be somebody who's very good at DIY, so when it comes to the family home or your home, it could be the fact that they've built their own extension on the home and things like that, okay? They've got a little bit of a talent there when it comes to building. Now, when it comes to your person, something that may shock and surprise you is the fact that they can party hard. This is somebody who may tell you stories when they have stayed up for like 3 days straight, just partying. I think if you meet this person while you're both young, you're going to have an absolutely amazing and explorative time. This is somebody who's going to take you to festivals, show you new things. They'll show you foods that you never tried before. They'll show you music that you've never heard before. It does make me think that you guys could be from a different culture. You could have like different backgrounds. You could come from a quieter culture, but it doesn't have to be for everybody. But I think there's something a little bit different. They bring a little bit of something different to the table. a few things that you've never tried before, a few things that you've never done before, a few places that you've never seen before. There's a lot of travel here as well with you guys. Now, if you meet this person later in life, their party days and that kind of wild side of them will be behind them, but you guys will still travel. But I think there'll be like a little bit more of a tame energy there. But I also think that you're going to really notice the fact that they have partied hard and they can party hard if you do kind of push to, like, I don't know, go to a festival. You may find that they're the last one up dancing, they're the last one to the tent. One of your favourite things about them is going to be the fact that they are such a good kisser. You will never find anyone who kisses you as, like, intimately and delicately as they do. There's something about their kiss. Is that a Prince song? I think it's a Prince song. There's something about their kiss. You're going to absolutely love it. It's going to be one of those, you're going to be one of those couples where all they have to do is kiss you and you're ready to go all the way with them. Like, there's just so much magic and chemistry between you both when you kiss. Okay, pile number 1, I am going to leave that there. I really hope you enjoyed this reading. I hope it helped in some way. If you did like this video, drop me a like, and if you resonate with any parts of this video, let me know down below in the comments, or just tell me which pile you claim. And pile number 1, I shall see you next time. Goodbye. Hello, beautiful and wonderful pile number 2. Welcome to your reading. Let's find out some super fun facts about your future spouse. Now, you guys chose the Hierophant card. Now, this tells me that your future spouse has a lot of influence within their community. They could have a lot of influence when it comes to the people around them. They could have a lot of influence when it comes to you. This is somebody who is very much in control of themselves. I do also think that your future spouse is a preacher. I also want to throw out there that they could be like a preacher's son or a preacher's daughter. They've got a real talent when it comes to words, a talent when it comes to influence, a talent when it comes to motivation. I do feel like they have came from quite a spiritual family, whether this be religion or whether this be like more like new age kind of spirituality. I'm just pausing because I feel like your future spouse may come from some religion that, and I don't even know how to explain this because I can't really visualize what this is that I'm picking up here, but it's a religion or a belief which holds a lot of like esoteric knowledge. Now, this could be you as well. You may come from a background that's highly religious or highly spiritual. You know, I want to use the word earth secrets for some reason. So there could be a connection with some kind of belief system that really does shine a light on what this life is truly all about. I even want to say this belief system could be a little bit unconventional or a little bit rare. You know, it may be a belief system that only if, you know, certain pockets in the world have. Okay, it's not like a big belief system like, you know, Christianity and things like that. Now, I do think that you could actually work in a job where you do use your voice. I do think that you may meet your future spouse because they may bring out a more communicative side of you, showing you how incredibly good you are when it comes to your communication, and that you're extremely talented and that you're holding a lot back when it comes to your communication. I can see your future spouse being someone who really does push you out there into the limelight. And your future spouse could be somebody who hasn't really found their niche just yet. This is somebody who has the potential to be highly, highly successful and highly powerful, even like the best in their game, I want to say. But I think they're in a phase at the moment where they're a little bit overwhelmed by everything that's going on. So they may actually be interested in like being an influencer on social media whilst doing a little bit of investing, whilst running their own, I don't know, what kind of bloody, running their own Amazon shop. You know, there's something around your future spouse where there's like a little bit of everything going on at the moment. They haven't yet found their niche. Now, I do want to say that your future spouse discovers you and sees you at a time when you are out with friends, and I do feel this quite strongly. Now, I don't know whether you have a blonde friend or someone who's got lighter hair than you, because it's going to be a time where you're out with this fairer haired person. Now, this could be the fact that your friend comes to you and they've just got highlights and they're like, let's go out on the town. There's a good chance you'll meet your future spouse on that night, okay? So just bear this in mind. But they're going to see you when you're out with a friend and they're going to think that you are absolutely gorgeous. I do feel like your future spouse has the confidence to approach you as well and just be like, hey, like, I had to come over. You are utterly stunning. Can I have your socials or can I have your number? But I do think you're going to notice this person because they're going to be the person who chats the chat. They're going to be the person who says, yeah, I've got 3 businesses. Yeah, they're really successful. Yeah, I'm working on this investment. Da, 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 da. And you may not even understand what they're saying because it's all so complicated. And I don't even know why I'm even saying that, but I just sense you being a little bit overwhelmed when you speak to them the first time as well. Not really understanding who this person is, not really being able to pinpoint what it is that they actually do. And I just think like that's like the phase that they're going to be in when you meet them. It's the phase that they're currently in now. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. But they've definitely got really strong goals. And I do want to say they're going to find themselves and they're going to be like a master or whatever it is that they're going to do. So we have Sagittarius energy for this person, Leo energy for this person, Virgo and Gemini. Fire and air energy for this person. Now I've also got the colour yellow for them, and the colour yellow does talk about curiosity, somebody who's very chatty, somebody who's very knowledgeable. This is also somebody who likes to learn new things. They may be very interested in watching like educational content when it comes to your downtime. This will be the person who wants to sit and watch a documentary with you. I want to say as well, when it comes to you, there could be something when it comes to further education or reading like a book or anything like that that's going to further your educational knowledge, whether it be, you know, certification, bloody hell, whether it be like formally educational, further education, or whether it just be like enhancing your knowledge in a subject. Okay, as I said, it could be the fact that you've got a book that you've been wanting to read for months and you keep pushing it to the side and saying that you don't have time for it. This could also be an educational pursuit for you that the universe and that spirit is currently asking me to say, hey, that thing, just go for it, do it now, don't wait. So I don't know whether that resonates with any of you here. There's a lot of creativity between you both, and I feel that you guys are both going to be a very successful couple. I think you're both always active, you're both very busy, and if you're not very physically busy, you're very busy-minded. You'll have that in common. You're going to have like the most amazing communication with each other. I think that's going to be the strong point of the relationship, communication. Now, I think you're extremely funny and I think they're very witty as well. And I don't think they've ever met anybody who's as funny as you before. I think if you are a female, for instance, here, this is just an example, I think they judge females for not having wit and not being funny. And that may not be for everybody, but you really do kind of show them that females can be super, super funny. It does make me think that this person may have been brought up in a household where the women are, I don't even know why I want to say this, but the women, it could be in their tradition that the women have to really adorn themselves, really dress up, make themselves look beautiful, and that rather than a woman's purpose being like educational and being, you know, a master at their career, a woman's purpose is to constantly work on their beauty, I want to say, for some reason. That's coming through. But your person is also taught to treat females with the utmost respect on top of that. Okay, so there's a lot of respect there when it comes to females, but it's a lot of respect when it comes to the physicalities of females, you know, majoritively. Now, if you're looking at a female, for instance, if you're a female looking for a female or a male looking for a female, I do want to say there's a big emphasis on appearance for some reason for this person. So if this person is approaching you, it means that you are hot to trot. You are a hottie. You are a worldie. I never use the phrase worldie, usually. Now, going into some of the channeled facts here. Your person may be into extreme sports. They may be into extreme sports. I think they're a bit of an adrenaline junkie. I think it's because their mind is so active that they're always having to be occupied, they're always having to push for something. If they're not pushing themselves to their limits, they get bored easily. Your future spouse has a very loud voice, a big presence, they're intimidating to a certain extent. I think they're intimidating to other people of the same gender as them, I want to say. And then highly respectful when it comes to the opposite gender. I do sense this person is tall, and for some of you this person could be very broad as well. Now this is main man or main bitch energy. This is not somebody who is a wallflower. This is not somebody who camouflages into their surroundings. This is somebody who's like the leader of the pack. This is somebody who is the alpha when it comes to their group of friends. This is somebody who's the main bitch when it comes to their group of friends. This is somebody who's highly respected in the family, highly influential. This is somebody who, I want to say their social media is going to be popping. And I want to say, even if this person only has like 5 posts on Insta, for, you know, I'm just using an example, they may have like 20k, 30k, up to like 100k followers, and it's like, whoa, what is this person doing? What kind of like knowledge do they have about social media? I need to know this-ish. So I also channeled that your future spouse unexpectedly enjoys gardening. I think it's the only time where they chill out. It might be the only time that they actually shut their mouth, to be honest, but they really enjoy gardening. And I think they are I think one of their goals and one of their dreams could be to grow their own fruit and vegetables, or have land to do that, to live off the land. It could even be a live off the grid kind of thing. I think they are somebody who, they're so active-minded. They do like being in the city. They do like being sociable. They like to be in kind of like lively places. But they also understand that they need like a little getaway because they get very burnt out because of all that. So I think this could be somebody who wants to transition into a bit of a, I don't even want to say more quieter time. They want to have a space where they can transition into when they need that quiet time. And I think something they do to have that quiet time is gardening. So they're going to be someone who's a very good gardener. And you may find that, you know, you're at their house and you're having a laugh and things like that, maybe having a little drink, and then they might stop drinking and say, well, you know, I want to stop drinking and have an early night because I want to do some gardening in the morning. And you're like, what? Gardening? Because gardening isn't weird, you know, it's not out there, but I think it's going to be really weird when you think of this person and their personality and the fact that they love gardening. There's somebody who's very connected to the earth, and this could have something to do with their spiritual beliefs. Respecting Mother Gaia, you know, things like that. Now, family may, your future spouse's family may come from an island or a smaller community. This could be the islands, this could be Ireland off the UK, this could be the Isle of Wight, this could be islands off Australia and New Zealand. You know, this could be anywhere in the world, but it's like they've got some kind of connection to the islands. Whether they were born on an island, whether their ancestry is from an island or a smaller community. And this really does resonate with that spiritual belief that I was talking about at the start of this reading. Whatever their spiritual beliefs are, it's very exclusive. Not many people know the knowledge from these belief systems because they're not really out there. They're kept within these small communities. Now, your future spouse absolutely loves the coast as well. And I do think this is something that you're both going to share here. You could have dreams of moving to the coast. And I do want to say, if you share a dream with your future spouse about moving to the coast, you will move to the coast. I do see you both making like a decent amount of money to be able to live wherever you want. And I think for some of you watching this, it may be very hard to believe because you may be in a state of your life where you're like, oh God, I'm kind of penny pinching. I don't really know where I'm going in life. You're gonna ground when it comes to your skills. You're going to both find a niche and you're both going to be extremely successful. I do want to say for this pile as well, pile number 2, you guys may actually join together like the number 2 and start like a family business or some kind of business together and earn your money that way. Now, your future spouse likes kids. Now, I do think they are somebody who's going to want kids. I do think they're somebody who's going to want a lot of kids, but I think this comes from the fact that they have a lot of siblings, a lot of nephews, a lot of nieces. I want to say, for some of you, this person could significantly have a younger sibling. So, for example, your future spouse, you could meet them when they're 28, and you'll find that they have like a 9-year-old sibling, okay? So look out for that as well when it comes to your future spouse. I do want to say the family that they come from is quite young, so I don't know whether the elders, I don't know whether there's enough young people that they've kind of taken over the elders. So there could be grandma and grandpa, mom and dad, and both of them have had like tons and tons and tons and tons of children. And a lot of the children are young. I don't know a way to describe it. Okay, I'm just going to say it in very layman and mathematical terms. There could be like 30 young people in the family. And look, it doesn't have to be a family that big, but I do sense a large family with this person. But there could be 30 young people in the family and 5 elders left. So there's like majoritively young people in the family, and they basically just run rings around the elders. Even though the elders are very respected and things like that, I do want to say the young people just run rings around them, okay? So it could be a very young family, or if there are like prominent elders around, they act young. They all act like they're in their 20s. They all love a good time. I do sense like, I'm getting rum here, so I don't know whether your future spouse may distill their own rum, or whether there's like a rum distillery in the family. That is so random, but I sense like rum, I sense having a good time, but I sense it being like a really laid back good time, okay? Very easy energy when it comes to the family here. A lot of laughs, a lot of smiles. I do think your future spouse is going to have a beaming smile, the most beautiful straight white teeth that you've ever seen. I want to say they're going to have one of those smiles that's like from ear to ear, very, very wide smile, but so attractive. They can literally charm the pants off anyone just by smiling. I do also want to say that they are somebody who's got options, so you know that they're going to be mega hot, but I do think that you're somebody who's also who also has options here. You'll be the couple that people just say, oh my god, your babies are going to be so gorgeous. Okay, so you both like know that you can have whoever you want, but it's so nice and exclusive that you guys only choose each other. But yeah, there are a bunch of people who are young at heart. I do also want to say that your future spouse is going to be the old man or the old woman that is going to be like really funny. They're going to be an amazing father or mother, but they're also going to be an amazing grandparent. Like they're always going to be the cool hip mom or dad, the cool hip grandma or grandpa. Dogs are big here for your future spouse. You may love dogs as well, but they may want to have 3 big house dogs. And I think there's something around the dogs protecting the house here. I don't know whether it's just something that is very natural for them, or whether it's like natural for the area that they grew up in to have like multiple big dogs. But I do think they love dogs. They've got a big thing for dogs, and they like their big dogs as well. Now, a song that came through, and bear in mind, all of the songs that I channeled today, I've never heard them before, so I had to put them into YouTube. So we've got Rich Kids, Why Us? I'd never heard the song before. I didn't even know it existed. Same upon the one, I didn't know the song existed. So this tells me that your future spouse likes hip hop, R&B, they may like a bit of trap. This could be somebody who can naturally rap or has like a very good speaking voice, I want to say, like the spoken word. I want to say this person, it reminds me actually, this has just come to my head, it reminds me of an interview with Timbaland and Justin Timberlake that I saw, and they were talking about like the work that they did together, you know, Cry Me a River, SEXE Back, My Love and all that stuff. I absolutely loved those songs. But Justin Timberlake talked about Timbaland and saying, even when he talks, he never even talks off beat. So the way they talk may always be on beat. If they make any sounds, it's always going to be like, I don't know, like very nice sounding to the ears. I don't even know where I'm going with this one, guys. There's something about their voice. And I even want to say there's something very poetic about the words that they choose to use. This could be somebody who motivates and influences, but they also have like a natural talent for lyricism. So when they're influencing, they're even rhyming their words. Like, you know what I mean? Like it takes a lot of talent to be able to do that, but there's something around this person doing that. They could even change the sound of words to make them fit and rhyme with other words as well. It's what's coming up, it is what it is, all right? It is what it is. Now, you and your future spouse definitely mirror each other. I want to say you share the same past wounds, you share the same goals in life. I want to say you're both looking for the one, and you will not settle until you find the one, and that is the same with both of you, and that's how you both know that you guys, absolutely perfect together, because you will not settle for anyone who is not the one. 2424, as I look at the clock, okay, 2424. Again, you know, you may both have history of having a lot of relationships, but you've never set down foundations with anyone before you've met each other. When you meet each other, you just set all those foundations down straight away, and that's how you know that you guys are solid. You're both very fiery. And I want to say, when you first met, you both started out not expecting to fall for each other. You just thought it was going to be like the last person. It's going to be like, okay, you know, this is going to be a bit of fun, but they're probably going to give me the ick somehow. But yeah, you guys end up falling for each other. I even want to say, for you in particular, on your first date, I don't even think, don't take this as an offence, because I think you do make effort a lot. I think you're so good looking when you dress yourself up, and also naturally. But I think the first time you met your future spouse, they gave a very cocky attitude to you. Or they gave off a very cocky impression, sorry. And you were like, okay, you're hot, so I will give you a chance. But I don't know if you're going to be the one for me, because I don't tend to go for people who are that arrogant, all right? So when it comes to the first date, I don't think you're going to make the biggest effort. I think you're going to be like, right, I know what dress I'm wearing, or I know what suit I'm wearing, or I know what shirt and trousers I'm wearing. If they like it, I don't care, whatever. I don't think it's going to work with this person anyway. You might put on like minimal makeup, where maybe on like a more kind of serious date, you might actually go all out with like eyeliner and fake lashes. And you turn up and you end up finding out that your future spouse is so much deeper and so humble compared to your first impression. So I genuinely think you're shooketh, basically. When you leave that date, you are shook to S-H-I-T. And you both love music. You both may have music in the blood. And I also want to say that you could both be like undercover Ushers or Beyoncés. I think it was Ed Sheeran. And I'm not normally a fan of Ed Sheeran, okay? No hate for anyone who is a fan of Ed Sheeran. But I'm sure I heard on an interview, and he said, I wasn't able to sing before. Like, he wasn't a naturally born talented singer. He just practiced, and he practiced, and he practiced. And he became Ed Sheeran, you know, one of the most successful music artists in the world. And I want to say, if you're watching this and you're thinking, I can't sing, but I do love singing, practice and practice and practice. You are going to get better at it. You are going to become a master at it. You may have some very big lungs, very powerful lungs, and the ability to really throw your voice. Now, your future spouse is really big in the club scene in their youth. And I think they're going to have a lot of stories to tell from that time. There could be some embarrassing stories to tell, but there could also be some like really exciting stories to tell as well. I think one of their favourite drinks is Hennessy. That's coming up. And again, you know, here we go. It's channeled storyteller, way with words. They're a storyteller and they have a way with words. Now, your future spouse, here we go, the air and the fire here that I mentioned at the start of the reading. I also feel like your future spouse will do anything for attention. Again, there could be some big Leo energy here. I think they had to battle to be seen in a big family. And maybe this is why they're always seeking that attention. They've got like a really influential confidence. And again, I do want to pull it up that maybe you haven't found that like true confidence within you at the moment. And it doesn't mean that you're not going for things. It doesn't mean that you're not standing up and speaking your mind, but it may still be very difficult for you. Like, you could be that amazing singer, but you've never stood up and sung in front of anyone. Or you may have stopped singing because of a bad experience and you've never gained the confidence to sing again. Bear in mind, that's an example. It doesn't have to resonate for everybody. But your future spouse comes in and they really do inspire you when it comes to confidence. It's one of those people where you will see your future spouse and go, well, if they can do it, I can do it too. And your future spouse will turn around and say, grab my hand, baby, you're going to do it with me. You know, it's that kind of energy here. Now, I do want to say that your future spouse is hot in a very 50 Cent kind of way, or Tiana Taylor kind of way. Like, they look really strong and they look really fierce. This is the person that no one's going to mess with. There's something very stern about their face. And also, your future spouse enjoys cooking signature dishes. Now, I say signature dishes because if you tell them to cook something that they've never cooked before, they're going to be like, no, I'm no good at that. They're very good at cooking a couple of signature dishes. This could be the person who always cooks the curry, because they're absolutely fantastic at curry. If you ask them to make your beans on toast, they're going to burn the toast. That's what I'm getting here. So they've got a couple of signature dishes that are so good. They've really mastered those dishes, but they're not going to branch out and cook any other dishes, okay? So it's horses for courses when it comes to them and cooking. And I think their personality is one of those personalities that I like what I like. You know, I'm good at what I'm good at and I like what I like. Okay, so there's like an element of like stubbornness with them. And it's really interesting because they're really explorative. And they're like, it's like they're really explorative when it comes to their career. They can do a little bit of this, they can do a little bit of that. But there's like a stubborn nature under there as well. I don't know whether they've got like a little bit of sneaky Taurus. I think it could be a little bit of stubbornness when it comes to their outlook on life. Because this stubbornness is there, but it's not everywhere. They could be quite stubborn when it comes to clothes they wear, or, as I said, you know, they cook the dishes that they cook. They don't learn anything new. They don't want to do anything new. It's like stubbornness when it comes to their personal life. Same when it comes to like, this type of person is my type. You know, you meet some people and it's like, what's your type? And they're like, oh, I don't know, anything really. And it's like, please tell me your type. I need to know. If you tell me, like for me, for instance, please tell me you like blondes. Because if you like a bit of everything, I've got way more competition on my hands. So this person's going to be somebody who's got a type. And if you don't fit that type, you do not make the cut. You are not on the list. You are not coming into VIP. Right then. I am going to leave that there. Pile number 2. I really hope you enjoyed this reading. I hope you gathered some information from this reading. Let me know down below if you do resonate. Let me know down below if you did like the reading. Let me know which pile you claimed. And also drop me a little like if you did like this video. All the likes help the channel grow, they help the video circulate, and it means that I can bring more videos like this your way. So pile number 2, take care of yourselves, beauties, and I shall see you next time. Goodbye. Hello, amazing pile number 3. Welcome to your reading. Let's find out some fun facts about your future spouse. So you chose the Moon card. Now this tells me that your future spouse is actually very deep. This could be somebody who's like secretly sensitive. I also think they're very protected when it comes to their emotions. I think they're very spiritually protected when it comes to their emotions, or they protect their own emotions. We could be looking at somebody who has like a Capricorn moon or a Cancer moon here. I do feel you may be the person who has to kind of bring your future spouse's emotions to the surface, maybe help them understand that their emotions are valid, maybe help them understand as well that when it comes to all their goals and their dreams in life, it does require there being that foundation of stability when it comes to their emotions, and you cannot have stable emotions if you're not looking at those emotions. Bear in mind, this could also be a message for you, so I'm also going to throw that out there as well if you do resonate with that message. When you look at the Cancer Capricorn axis in the chart, okay, Capricorn is that CEO energy, the top of their game kind of energy. It is the GOAT as well, because it represents the sea goat there with Capricorn, and Cancer is that foundation. You cannot be the top of your game without that solid foundation of Cancer, without those roots. Okay, so that also makes a lot of sense because Cancer rules the IC at the bottom of the chart. Capricorn rules the midheaven at the top of the chart. Okay, the IC are the roots, and the stem grows upwards and it flowers up there in the MC, okay, for everybody to see. All right, so those roots need to be healthy, well watered, and be as stable as purely possible here. I do feel like your future spouse has a lot of dreams, a lot of goals, but I do think there could be a little bit of fear around that currently at the moment, whether you know this person or not. I do think your future spouse is somebody, and this could relate to you as well, who people expect a lot from. And I do think both you and your future spouse may need to put your foot down in some area of your lives and say, no, like that, it's too much for me, whether it be too much of a workload given to you by a boss, whether it be family expectations of you. You know, there could be some areas in both of your lives, and this could be something that you both really resonate with and connect on. The fact that, you know, you have to stand up and say no to certain things that aren't in alignment with what you want from your life and aren't in alignment with your own personal goals, hopes, and dreams. Now there's a ton of blue energy here. Blue and red, interestingly, and I did also choose previously to colour in the heart on these channeled messages in red as well. So we've got a mix between emotion and passion, water and fire. There's a lot of drive with your future spouse, passion with your future spouse. This is somebody, when they love, they're going to love extremely deeply because they've got that passion for a relationship, but also that heavy, heavy emotion for love and in relationships. Another thing, and it's very similar to what I've just said, but there could be one of you, and I actually feel like this could be you. There could be a lot of online pressure at the moment to be a certain way online. And I don't know whether that resonates to anybody out there. You could be doing something very public online and you may be zoning in on the comments, maybe pulling out the negative comments more than the positive comments. Now, I think it's you. It could be your future spouse if you don't resonate, but there's a lot of energy around people's opinions. And I do feel like Spirit is here saying, no. Other people's opinions don't matter. Because I'm saying this because here on this Judgment card, we've got this lady who's like really overwhelmed by all of these messages coming through. And you can see that 2 of them are highlighted in pink, which makes me think out of all of those messages, 2 of those messages may have been negative, or comments may have been negative. And maybe you get overwhelmed and upset by the 2 negative comments. And it doesn't have to be online. This can be in your life in general. This can be at work and people's comments about your work at work. You know, you may have people saying like, oh my God, like you're absolutely amazing at what you do. And then you may have like 2 jealous people who are like, I don't know, I think I could do better. Or it ain't all that. And I think there's an element of potentially focusing on the negative rather than the positive. But this could also be with your future spouse. Maybe they've been through a time of focusing on the negative rather than the positive. I do want to say that your future spouse will come into your life and potentially teach you how to focus on the positive rather than the negative, or you may both share previous stories of times where you both focused on the negative rather than the positive. I'm seeing a rainbow now in my mind's eye, which makes me feel that you guys like to focus on the little things in life that make you happy. But there could be something around your voice, actually. I'm going to go back on to what I was saying about the rainbows in a minute, even though I think I've already explained it, but I'll go back to it to see if there's anything else in a moment. But there could be something around your throat chakra at the moment, because with all this blue here, that does represent the throat chakra. So again, maybe you're feeling stifled vocally for some reason. Again, I think it's got something to do with somebody or people's criticisms. I actually feel for this pile, your future spouse isn't too far away. I think for this pile, some of you have met your future spouse already. I think for some of you, you may be in a relationship with this person and the next step is marriage. Because look at the numerology of the cards. We've got number 1, pile number 1, pile number 2, pile number 3. Pile number 1, essentially, if we're looking at the numerology, and this isn't always the way when it comes to my piles, but if we look at pile number 1, we're looking at a unison, we're looking at one person, an individual, somebody who knows themselves and has built their own personality. Number 2, they're ready to find somebody else and pair up with somebody else because they know themselves now. So they're looking for somebody who mirrors them or somebody who complements them. And then pile number 3 is the next stage. You know, you're in that relationship, you've done the pile number 2, you've met that person. Pile number 3 is creation, creating a life together. Okay, moving to the next step of the relationship, getting married, getting a home together. Okay, and I feel like for this pile, for some of you, you may be in that phase where you've already gone through the dating phase of this person. You may be in a relationship with this person and moving on to the next level. But if that is not the case, do not fret. I think this is an indication that your person is fairly close. Okay, they're not a million miles away. And I also want to say that I think you're going to meet them potentially. Oh, we've had a flipper. For some of you, you might meet them after a house move. For a lot of you, you may meet them at work, or you may meet them through a work colleague. So with the red, we've got someone who's driven. Your future spouse and you're both very driven, you're both very passionate about life. I think you both have humongous goals, but there's just a few fears around those goals. No need to be fearful, just keep on moving, you're going to build confidence along the way, I promise you. And that is for both you and your future spouse. But you're both highly, highly emotional. Turquoise as well. Let me go into my memory banks about turquoise. I feel like turquoise represents strong creativity, natural talents. I really feel like I need to say to you and your future spouse, you both need to believe in your talents. I think you both have one thing that you are both extremely good at. And I think you face a lot of adversity when it comes to those things in your lifetime. And Spirit really wants you to push through the adversity and continue regardless of the battles that are happening around you. You got lovers, you got haters, pile number 3. Screw the haters. They're just fuel. Now, I feel that you're going to meet your future spouse on a day where you're wearing white. This may be a day where you're out shopping and you might receive like a DM, you might receive a friend request. I do see like a little bit of online communication here. As I said, you may meet them through a friend, through work, through a colleague, but you may be not expecting, or you may not be expecting the one-on-one interaction to occur. And I want to say this is most probably going to occur. I laugh because it sounds silly, doesn't it? But I think this is going to occur on a day where you're wearing white. I think this is going to occur on a day where you are extremely busy, where you are extremely overwhelmed. And I think whatever this communication is from your future spouse is going to really make your day. You're going to be like, you know what? I feel 10 times lighter just having a request from this person or having a DM from this person. And you know in that moment, this person's going to be special to you. I also want to say that your future spouse is very psychic and they don't even know it. There could be somebody who's very good with investments and things like that, somebody who's very good at pointing out when somebody is lying, somebody who knows when to make moves and knows not to make moves. That's something else I'm picking up about them. I do think you guys are going to move residence as well when you're married, so I don't know whether you're somebody who does want to move from where you are at the moment, but you're going to move residence, you're going to move house, you may even move countries for some of you. I don't know whether any of you are trying to run away from something. I don't particularly think there's anything wrong with running away. I think there's times to run away and there's times to not run away. Times to not run away is when you are being cowardice. But times to run away, when it's a positive thing, when there is a time to run away, it's when you're stale. When you literally feel stale, when you feel like nothing is going your way, when you feel stuck in the mud. When no matter how much love and effort you give to the pursuits around you and the people around you, you are just faced with blocks. That's the time to run away, because that could be a sign that the energy where you reside just does not match your personal energy. I also want to throw this out here for you and your future spouse. Your aura can get too big for the place that you're in. I learned this from a lady online and she was talking about celebrities. Why do celebrities need humongous, massive houses? Because their aura is so effing massive. And I don't agree with celebrities having humongous houses when there's people out there who are homeless. But there's truth in that, for sure. When I heard it, I was like, ding, yeah, so true. Have you ever lived in a home where once it was big enough for you, once it was fine, you didn't mind it at all, and then all of a sudden, maybe a year down the line, you start feeling really cramped for no reason? It's because your aura has expanded. You have settled more into your power and now your aura is expanding outwards. Your aura may be too big for the home that you're in or the town that you're in, and it can happen for towns as well. If you're living in quite a small town or a closed-minded town, okay, so it could be a humongous town but everyone in there's closed-minded, your aura just and your energy field just is not allowing you to stay there. There is somewhere better for you. Let's get into the stuff that I wrote down for you and what I channeled for you guys earlier. And we're going to start out with a song because the song came to me straight away. So we've got Queen and David Bowie, Under Pressure. Do you know that song? So it does tell me that your future spouse is a little bit old school. They might be an old soul, or they could be older or act older than their age. They could naturally mix with older people as well. So you could find that they have an older friends group. Maybe they're attracted to older people. Whether you're a male or a female, they could be attracted to you if you're older. Okay, I know I've just contradicted myself so that they could be older. But that's also coming out as well. This is a collective reading. It is going to be different for different people. But I do think prominently they're going to have older friends. Probably about 5 years older to 10 years older, okay? They're an original as well. Your future spouse is an original. They're unapologetically themselves. And I do want to say they've built their power through hard times and they work best under pressure. That's so cheesy, I don't know why I said that now. If you look at their birth chart and also look at your own birth chart, you both may share this, you may find that you have a lot of squares in the birth chart. A square is an aspect in astrology and it's not the most satisfactory or satisfying, what do I want to use? Not the most satisfying aspect in astrology. It's quite a difficult aspect and it causes pressure. Now, do not be disheartened if you have a lot of squares in your chart. Elon Musk, very successful person, very successful man, has a tonnage of squares in his chart. Squares tend to push you and make you feel uncomfortable, so you keep on moving, keep on going, keep on moving, keep on achieving. Squares don't really allow you to sit back and just relax and stare up at the stars and go, do you know what, life is so beautiful. Squares will come in, you'll lay back on the grass and you'll be like, I'm being bit by spiders, and then you look at the stars and you're like, oh, why is there a big cloud covering the stars? Well, what would you do in that situation? You'd get up and you'd keep on moving. You personally may find, okay, you may resonate, when things are rough, when things are busy, you may be like, oh my goodness gracious, when am I going to be able to rest? And then you take a holiday and you think, flipping out, I'm bored. I want to go back to work. You may be one of those people. If you are, your future spouse is also one of those people. If you're not, your future spouse is going to be one of those people. And for some reason, I cannot breathe right now. Do you not get a moment to breathe? Do they not get a moment to breathe? Do you have asthma? Have you recently been suffering from issues where you're not breathing fully? Maybe you are very stressed and you're not realising that you are not breathing deeply. Oh, because I cannot breathe at all right now. And it just came from nowhere. It's so important at times of stress to really control your breathing. When we're stressed, a lot of us tend to shallow breathe. We don't realise we're doing it. I've been there myself, and I've only experienced it within the past couple of years when times have got really stressful. I'm shallow breathing. I'm not breathing all the way in. The oxygen isn't moving around my body efficiently because I'm not taking in enough of it. And unfortunately, that shallow breathing makes you even more stressed. Maybe a message for you or your future spouse, if you do know your future spouse and you've met your future spouse, is to look at your breathing. Breathing deeply is going to help ease anxiety, and it sounds like the most stupidest thing ever, and it's the most basic thing as well, isn't it? So many of you will go, oh yeah, I've not thought about my breathing. So many of you will go, well duh, of course I've thought about my breathing. I know I hadn't before I started having issues with breathing, or breathing shallow. You know, I remember the first time I was breathing shallow and I was having heart pains, and I was like, why am I having heart pains? And I realised it was because my breathing was so shallow. There could be heart pains with one of you. But it's the breathing. Breathing is the key. Deep breathing. Something else that really works for me, and something else that I've also heard from elsewhere to say that it's worked for them as well. Okay, I was at a Reiki course and somebody said this to me and I was like, yeah, I resonate with that. Is if you cannot sleep at night, just take in deep breaths. Breathe in. Breathe out. And the lady at my Reiki course said, you know, I only have to do that 3 times and I'll nod off. Now, your future spouse is a lone wolf, okay? Doesn't mean that they're all on their own and they're a loner and they've got no friends. They're just somebody who needs their own time, but at the same time, they're not going to be influenced by external forces. They're very strong-minded. They could be in a group of friends and their friends are like, we're going off to the next club, we're going to get wasted. And they'll be like, oh, I want to get back to my person. And everyone could call them all the names under the sun. They could be like, you idiot, you're under the thumb, you're this, you're that, come on, have some fun, have a drink, blah, 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 blah. And it just does not touch the sides. They're just like, no, I'm going back to my person, that's what I'm going to do. And then, you know, their friends can't fall out with them about it because they're a strong-ass person. If anything, some of the friends who don't have the ability to speak up will most probably be inspired by them and think, oh, well, you know, if pole number 3 can do it, or pole number 3's person can do it, I can do it too. This also may be a calling to say for you, potentially you might need to speak up somewhere. I don't know whether I've already mentioned this in this reading. Am I getting deja vu for no reason? I don't know. So your person is somebody who marches to the beat of their own drum. Now, this person could also play the drums. They could play an instrument, or they could have a history of being in bands. I do think they like that kind of rocky, poppy, metal. Oh God, I don't really know much about this genre of music, but they could like indie, band music, rock pop, metal, commercialised metal. I don't even know if any of that makes sense. If you like that kind of music, oh my goodness gracious. Okay, it doesn't matter where you are in the world, get your butts onto BBC iPlayer, watch Jack Saunders. He's a radio DJ on BBC Radio 1. You'll find it, BBC iPlayer. Jack Saunders, I think it's like called Upcoming Artists or something like that. Any radio show by Jack Saunders, honestly, like every song is a masterpiece. Check it out if you like that kind of music. Okay, so your future spouse is very business minded. They're either successful or they're going to be successful. And I do think they're very good when it comes to investments, and a lot of their risks or risk taking pays off. They're also somebody who never settles for mediocre, ever. They're also very windy for this pile. I don't know whether your future spouse burps a lot or whether you burp a lot. I'm not a burper. I actually think I'm missing a flap in my throat, which means that I can't burp. I also struggle to vom because of that as well. It's a thing. It is a thing. I've heard of someone else who has the same thing, but I really do struggle to burp. So I don't know why they're actually coming up right now. Okay, so someone might be a bit of a burper. It could also be that your future spouse may have word vomit. There may be somebody who puts their foot in it, somebody who's very outspoken. I remember I grew up in pubs. My dad still owns one of the pubs that I grew up in, and so I always know where to find him, and he's always going to be there basically. So I went back and I was like in my mid-20s, and I took one of my childhood friends who was fairly close to my dad actually growing up, so they know each other really well. And I brought her in and I was like, look who it is. I'm not going to say the name, I'm just going to make up, it's Deirdre. And my dad went, oh, you're right, Deirdre, long time no see, you've put on some weight. And I was like, what? What? Deirdre didn't mind. In all honesty, Deirdre hadn't put on much weight, to be honest. Like, I don't even know if she had, I can't remember, but she's not a big girl. Not a big girl at all. I'm so cringing now. But it was just the confidence in my dad's voice. Just like, what? This is banter. This is lols, isn't it? Not realising that potentially Deirdre could have gone home and been really upset by that. There could be an element of this with your future spouse. They could be like, what? A bit hardened when it comes to comments like that. I'm just telling the truth kind of thing. And you'll be like, bloody hell, calm down. Like, you could really hurt someone's feelings. And they're like, well, if they can't take it, that's their problem. It could be that kind of energy. But you can always trust that they're always going to be very honest with you. I think they're always going to be honest with you in the way of like, hey, I don't think that suits you. I don't think you're making the right business moves here. I think you're being a dick. Now, I'm also getting an energy from your future spouse that they're a bit of a silver fox. Now, it doesn't mean that they actually have to be a silver fox, all right? But this could be for some of you. They could have a luscious head of silver hair. Very good looking older person, if this person is going to be older for you. They could be somebody who also started going grey in their 20s, okay? They may mention, oh yeah, I went grey early. Now, if they don't have any grey hair whatsoever, they are going to have a full head of hair if they are a masculine. And if they're a female, it's going to be luscious, it's going to be thick, it's going to be gorgeous. Now, your future spouse can seem very calm on the outside, but they're a little bit more active on the inside. They could actually have moments of being very hyper, unexpectedly. I think that they could actually have made some really big, oh God, something that might be very embarrassing to them, but also something that they might enjoy telling stories about, are times where they either went a little bit wild, maybe I'm just going to say an example, but don't fear, okay, because I think this is all in the past. But they may be somebody who will say, oh yeah, I went gambling with my friends, I was 18 years old, and I ran out of money and I gambled my parents' car, or something like that, okay? There's a lot with big gains and big losses with this person in their past. So I think there's somebody who's done a lot of crazy things when it comes to money in the past. They could have had like a hefty inheritance and spent it all on a sports car and then crashed that sports car 2 weeks later, right? There's like a hyperness that lives within them, even though they're very calm and calculated on the outside. Okay, so your future spouse has a, oh here it is, yeah, I forgot about this. Your future spouse has a strong connection to their past life. Now, I do think you have a past life connection with your future spouse. And that sounds a little bit silly for me to say, because most of us will have a past life connection with our future spouses. We'll have some kind of history, or at least some kind of contract with that person. But I think for instance, for some people, you may have a past life with your future spouse 3 lifetimes ago, 10 lifetimes ago. With you guys, I think your past life connection was last lifetime, and I don't think it was that long away or long ago. So I feel like their past life could have been between the 1900s and the 1970s in particular. I think this life is very karmic for them because they've decided to rush back into this incarnation. Normally, when you leave this earth, your soul will be away from the earth. There'll be like a bit of like a break in between. And a lot of people will say that that break will be about 80 Earth years. So somebody who died in the 1900s may come back in 1980, okay? But it could be longer. It depends how much time you need to kind of reflect on the lifetime that you've left. I hope I'm making sense here. Some people will choose to be away longer, some people will choose to come back straight away. Now the reason you choose to come back straight away is probably because there's certain things in your past life you didn't achieve and you're like, I just want to get them done, all right? God, I just want to get them done. Can I just go down and get them done? And to me, this tells me that your person has a very specific karma when it comes to this life, because they've decided to come straight back down the chute. So another thing, because your future spouse was so adamant that they wanted to get back down here and get SHIT checked off their life contract list or their karmic list, they are naturally somebody who's always in a rush. Somebody who is naturally very impatient. Now with your future spouse, I get Sagittarius energy, I get Taurus energy, I get Virgo energy, I get Gemini energy. It could be a lot of Gemini energy going on with them, to be honest. Now I'm thinking about it. A lot of mental overload with your future spouse. Now your future spouse is highly intelligent, they know a lot of random facts, and I want to say they especially have a lot of random facts about history. They're really interested in history. Looking into history is one of their hobbies. They could even teach history as a tutor, or they could actually. Okay, so I'm going to tell you this, which is an example from somebody I know, okay? I know somebody who has a bit of an obsession with mining. So they think that they were a miner in a past life, because whenever there's any article about mining or any video about mining or a chance to go down a mine, they are just so interested in it. They're just so interested in researching it. They're so interested in reading about it. So again, it could be like some kind of quirky interest when it comes to history. It could be a quirky interest when it comes to ancient Egypt. It could be a very strong interest in like WW1 or WW2, okay, things like that, WAR. Now your future spouse looks great in a suit, and I do think they've got more of a slender build to them. Now if your future spouse is not a male and you're looking for a female, again they're going to look really good in those more conservative clothings. Tailored clothings are going to really suit them, and again they're just going to look so hot when they're wearing like their office attire. Now your future spouse dreams to be different, and I think they want to be like the first millionaire of the family. They really want to prove themselves when it comes to their family or like past friends and things like that. I actually do sense a lot of distance when it comes to your future spouse and their family, whether that be geographical distance or whether that be emotional distance with them. Again, it's that lone wolf energy. I do think they're somebody who recycles their friendships a lot. You know, this could be somebody who doesn't have, you know, childhood friends. You know, maybe they sort of acknowledge childhood friends, but they're not like close to their childhood friends. They won't go out for drinks with their childhood friends. I think they've had a lot of pushback in life from the people that are supposed to care about them, and they've got a lot to prove. They want to prove everyone wrong. I think they've been the underdog at some point as well. I also want to say that this person could be a year of the dog, a Chinese year of the dog. Now your future spouse will or has connections to the UK, USA and Australia. And when it comes to why they have come back down on Earth and incarnated so soon, it looks like something they didn't accomplish in their previous life contract is true self-love. Now this also expands to loving other people, because you can't love anyone else. No, what's the RuPaul saying? If you can love yourself, how in the hell you gonna love anybody else? Hey, that phrase is coming to mind right now, but it's true. So they may have been very somewhat single in a past life, or married somebody that they weren't in love with in a past life, because they didn't really know what love was, because they didn't love themselves, or didn't truly love themselves, or didn't even have the space to focus on their own self-love. It makes me think, in their past life, they were forced to live a certain way, forced into a certain career, could even be forced into the army or something like that. And in this life, they're choosing to be independent, breaking those chains. this could pertain to why there's a lot expected of them, or they just naturally feel like there's a lot expected of them, even if a lot isn't expected of them. It's because they bought it from their past life. Now, I do want to say your future spouse is going to marry later in life, so this all depends on what age it is that you meet them. So I want to say they're going to marry anytime after the age of 30 to 35, okay? There's something around that North Node. Could be a Sagittarius North Node, could be a Taurus North Node, could be a Libra North Node. Something around that North Node needing to mature. This could be an Aries South Node and a Libra North Node. So in the early years of their life, they're still connected to that past life. I'm really independent, you know, I dance to the beat of my own drum. And then when that North Node matures around the age of 35, okay, because you're more likely or most likely to slip from your South Node, your past life, okay, South Node represents past life, into your North Node to where you're going in this lifetime around the age of 35. It can be between 35 and 40 when you start to mature into that North Node. So I think your person is going to marry later in life. You could meet them when they're that age. Or you could meet them younger and maybe you will have to wait a little bit for that wedding, but they're completely devoted to you anyway. And I genuinely think if you've got to wait a little bit for the wedding, you're going to be on the same page as them. It's going to be like, yeah, you know, I'd like to get married, but there's no rush. I'd like to save the money up so we're not in debt from it and all this kind of stuff. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're not going to be proposed to super soon. You know, you could be. But their marriage is going to come a little bit later. Maybe you want to save up for your dream marriage, because remember I said this person never settles for mediocre. This person will not scrimp and save when it comes to a wedding. They're going to do it. They want to go all out, and you may resonate with that as well. So this lifetime is all about their journey of true self-love and respect. And there could have been issues with the opposite gender growing up, or the gender that they're actually interested in. I'm getting ugly duckling syndrome with this person, and they haven't realised yet that they have now developed into the beautiful swan. I want to say your future spouse may have had very little interest in love before you came along, and I think that's going to be shown in a very sweet way. Like, I can see them, I'm sensing like Jay-Z and Beyonce here. Jay-Z and Beyonce vibes, where they have got each other's backs no matter what. I know there's been a lot of controversy around their relationship recently. I know there's been controversy around cheating, and I'm not saying that their marriage is completely perfect, and I'm not saying that your marriage is going to mirror their marriage exactly at all. But they are so, like, they really stick up for each other. They've got each other's backs big time. And there's that energy about that couple. God forbid if you try and get in between them. There's that kind of protective and guarding energy with you and your future spouse. It actually reminds me of a time with somebody that I was with. Well, someone that I'm on and off with, to be honest. I'll tell you because it's actually quite funny. So we went for a meal with a couple of couples, okay? It was like a little friends group of couples. And I can't have dairy or wheat. Okay? I'm allergic to dairy, I'm intolerant to wheat, which is something really interesting actually. I had a psychic reading, and the psychic told me that one of my ancestors said I can eat gluten, but the only reason I can't eat it is because of what they spray on it, rather than me being intolerant to gluten itself. Just thought that's quite interesting. I might throw that out there. But in this instance, I can't eat dairy, I can't eat wheat. And we were having tapas, and everyone else can share their tapas, but unfortunately for me, I have to be a little bit only child, kind of selfish, and say, look, these ones are mine. You can't dip your cheesy forks into my tapas, thank you very much. But one of the girls, I didn't really understand how severe my allergy, in particular my dairy allergy, is. And she was like, oh, it's okay, and just dipped her fork, I think it was into my meatballs. And my partner at the time looked over the table and was like, you can't do that to her. You know, she's got an allergy. And then he got the dish changed, so I had like some fresh meatballs. And I thought, you know, that was really nice for him to like stick up for me and things like that. But then when we left the venue, she was walking behind me, guys. So my partner opened the door for me. I walked out and he slammed the door shut on her. And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. She's there, you know, Shirley is there, kind of thing. Her name's not Shirley. And he was like, yeah, I know. And he'd had a few drinks, don't get me wrong, you know, he's not normally that combative. But he told me afterwards, he was like, she stuck her fork into your meatballs. She did not care whether you had an allergy. So I did not care to open the door for her. And I was like, oh. fair enough. Like, I was kind of like, ooh, but at the same time I was like, do you know what? Like, it's really nice that someone has my back, even though it was a bit extreme. That's the energy I get with you and your future spouse. So that's that. Part number 3, I'm going to leave that there. I really hope you enjoyed the reading. I hope you resonate with elements of the reading. If you do, comment down below. Let me know which par you claim. Okay, let me know what your favourite song of all time is as well. If you don't know what to say in the comments, but you want to say something, what is your favourite song? Let me know down below. Also, drop this video a like if you do like it. It really helps the video circulate, it helps the channel grow. And if you like content like this, please subscribe, because I love making content like this for you. So part number 3, take care of yourselves, and I shall see you next time. Goodbye.